Mario Kart World released just over a week ago, and it's the worst game ever made. I've been having a lot of fun with it over the past few days as there is a ton to do here. I'm still nowhere near 100% completion and I look forward to exploring and racing a ton more. However, despite having a lot of fun with the game, I definitely noticed quite a few flaws with it too. Most don't really get in the way fully, but there are definitely things that were a bit annoying. So today, I thought it'd be fun to go over my nitpicks for Mario Kart World. Now normally I would wait until I complete a game before making a nitpicks episode on it, but I got in a bad mood today so I'm channeling my inner hater. It also helps that Mario Kart World is probably the easiest for me to make a nitpicks list for out of every game I've covered in this series so far. Not to say it's the worst game I've covered, just that it has some very obvious and glaring flaws that I wanted to cover today. And of course, we won't just go over my nitpicks. The second half of this video will be dedicated to me bullying your nitpicks from the community tab. As always, I just picked the ones I thought were the most interesting, not necessarily the ones I agreed with. But anyways, if you enjoyed this video, please make sure to leave a like, subscribe to the channel, and let's jump right in. Alright, I'm gonna start this video with a nitpick I'm sure no one else has, but it's something that has bugged me a decent amount in my playthrough. In Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, you could trick off of ramps by either using the drift button or by shaking the controller. I liked having this option a lot, as shaking the controller meant I could trick off of ramps without having to worry about doing it too early and drift hopping instead. Additionally, for areas that look vaguely hilly but I'm not sure if I can trick off, I could shake the controller, and if it was a trickable surface, I would trick, and if it wasn't, nothing would happen. So I've grown used to shaking the controller to trick in these games. Now I know what a lot of you might be saying. Odyssey?
You stupid.
You can still shake the controller in Mario Kart World to trick. What's your point? Well, yes, both tricking options do still exist in the game, they slightly updated how shaking the controller works. The main reason I liked it was the fact that it would get me around the drift hop, but now if you shake the controller on a flat surface, it will do the drift hop. That means I can't just shake the controller to reliably trick off ramps or find surfaces that let me trick in the first place. Now yes, I am aware that this is a skill issue and I could just get used to timing my shake better, but I don't really understand why they changed this anyway. I don't think there's anything you can get from this shaking the controller drift hop, so I would rather it just not be in the game. Yeah, it's not really a big issue, but this series is called nitpicks for a reason. Alright, now let's jump into some more obvious ones. As much as I've been enjoying the open world so far, the fact that there is no way to track P-switches or Peach medallions is really annoying. I think the question mark tiles are handled perfectly. You know exactly how many there are per course, so you at least have an idea of how many to look for. For the P-switch and Peach medallions though, you only have the count on how many you've already collected. There's no way to tell where you could find more, and they don't even have markers on the map for the ones you already found. Heck, I don't even think anyone knows how many of these things are in the game period yet. That's how bad the tracking is. Now I don't need or even want a system that points directly to where each one of these are located, but at least sectioning off the map with a count of how many P-switches and Peach medallions are in each would be very helpful. I think Mario Odyssey nailed the system pretty flawlessly. Obviously it is a bit different as its kingdoms are separated rather than being in one open world, but I don't think it would be too hard to translate that over. Whenever you go into a new section of the map, you could get a menu for that area similar to the moon menu, which counts the P-switches and Peach medallions. Collecting them would put a marker on your map where you collected it so you would have an idea of which areas you've already been through. Maybe they could even have a hint toad that you pay coins to point out which ones you're missing, which would give more of a use for those giant coin piles outside of just stickers. Like I said before, I'm not even close to 100%ing yet, but I'm certainly dreading when I only have like 5 of each left and can't find it to save my life. While on the topic of the open world, one other quick thing that bugged me are all the random out of bounds spots that really don't feel like they should be there. If I was falling off a cliff into the void, I'd understand, but sometimes you'll just drive into a random spot and Lakitu will pick you up. That's especially annoying because Lakitu sucks at his job and never puts you close to where you fell off, and since you can't go back in time after being rescued, you are forced to drive all the way back to where you were. That was especially bad in Crown City for me, but I'm only about halfway through the courses, so it wouldn't surprise me if a later one gets even worse about this. On the topic of Crown City though, I gotta talk about the repeat courses again. In case you missed my cup ranking, 2 tracks in the game actually appear in 2 different cups. Crown City appears in both the Mushroom and Shell Cup, while Peach Stadium appears in both the Shell Cup and Special Cup. Now yes, the layouts of the tracks do change between the cups, but yeah, Peach Stadium 1 is easily the worst track in the game, and genuinely a bottom 3 track in the entire series because it's just a super open rectangle. It's clear that this track only exists to be filler and nothing else. At the very least, the 2 versions of Crown City are both decent and different. However, even if I liked all 4 layouts, having tracks repeat in this game still causes issues. In the open world, we only have 1 area to explore thanks to these tracks. Granted, Crown City has double the question mark tiles to make up for that, but Peach Stadium still only has the standard 5. Additionally, in modes like Time trials, you only get one route to race on for both of these. So essentially, this game does only have 30 tracks if you go by time trials, which is how I'm going to do it when I get to my track ranking. That is incredibly disappointing, as that's the least amount of tracks in the series since Double Dash, and I really feel like they should have put in more effort to make a couple more tracks. Speaking of putting in more effort, where's my Dry Bones costume? The costumes in Mario Kart World are extremely bizarre to me. Now, I was expecting some characters to get more than others, but some not getting any at all when Baby Rosalina has 4 is insane. The game essentially has 2 character classes, main characters and NPC drivers. While all the main characters get at least one costume, the NPC drivers don't get any. This is extremely devastating for me because for some reason, my goat Dry Bones is classed as an NPC despite being a Mario Kart veteran for years. I mean, even if he only got one, yeah, that would be sad, but at least he'd have something. I mean, when I play Mario Kart, I basically only play Dry Bones, so I would love to have that option. But even outside of that, the amount certain characters got is really strange. Mario having the most at 9 extra costumes makes sense, but then you look at Pauline and Donkey Kong who only get 1 costume each. I mean, maybe you could get away with that for Pauline since she is a newer character for Mario Kart, but Donkey Kong? That's insane. Let me remind you, Baby Rosalina has 4. I really hope they add character costumes in updates, not only so I can get more Dry Bones options, but also for the other characters who genuinely got robbed. Sticking with characters for a bit, the Kamek item is extremely dumb. He is the only way to unlock the NPC characters that are not unlocked from the start, and it is incredibly random. Not only do you have to hope someone gets the Kamek item, which is fairly rare, but you also have to hope that you are in front of them when they use it. Then you have to hope that Kamek transforms you into a new character, which isn't always a guarantee. So overall, getting every character in this game is a nightmare. I can't believe they removed Kamek on the roster for this. Now luckily some characters do have higher spawn rates on certain tracks, so there are strats to get characters easier, but leaving it up mostly to chance is still really annoying. Not to mention that the item just kinda sucks anyway. Alright, and before we move away from the characters, hashtag Larry for Mario Kart. The fact that the Koopalings are removed, but there's still stickers referencing them in the game is really mean. I really hope they get on to adding them in an update really soon. Jumping back to another obvious one, where on earth is 200cc? People love 200cc in Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, and while I probably preferred 150, I still enjoyed playing 200 sometimes. The fact that it's not in Mario Kart World is extremely bizarre to me. Maybe it was just too complicated to work with the new parkour mechanics, but that just seems like a very needless sacrifice. Oh, and also don't worry, this game does have mirror mode, you just gotta solve the entire FNAF lore to be able to find it. Another nitpick I have regarding how we do races connects to the online mode. I really don't like that we don't get to choose whether we have to do the intermissions or if we could just do the standard 3-lap race like in previous games. As far as I could tell, it's completely random whether you'll do the intermissions or not, which is kind of annoying since I generally prefer the standard 3-lap format. Obviously in Knockout Tour it makes sense to always have these, but normal races really should have had the option to disable the intermissions. Another thing that we have to talk about is the fact that one of the Mario Kart developers hates battle mode. It keeps feeling like it's getting neglected, and I have no clue why they're doing that. Mario Kart 8 Deluxe had a pretty solid battle mode with 5 different modes and 8 courses. Mario Kart World on the other hand decided to kill 3 of the modes and make most of the courses racetracks again. That is genuinely unbelievable after the Wii U Mario Kart 8 did the same thing and everyone hated it. Now granted, parts of the tracks have been closed off now, but honestly most of them are still too big. At least the dedicated battle maps aren't too bad. The real killer is a lack of modes. I understand Renegade Roundup being gone since the Piranha Plant isn't an item anymore, but there is no excuse for the other two. But Bomb Blast is as easy as making every item bomb. Shine Thief might require a little bit of work to make a Shine model, but not that much work where it couldn't be done. And those cuts hurt even more when you realize that some psycho on the dev team still brought back coin runners. You know, the worst one. Battle mode is extremely disappointing in Mario Kart World, and I really hope it gets focused on in future updates. Alright, before we get to my final big one, let's rapid fire through a few smaller ones. I really feel like they dropped the ball with the sticker system. The amount of stickers is fantastic, but you barely get any customization. On most carts, the sticker stays super tiny and you can only put one on at a time. I think it would have been awesome if you could customize your sticker layout, or at the very least adjust the size. It's way too small to see any stickers on anyone's cart in gameplay. Heck, I still don't even know where the stickers are supposed to be on the Biddy Buggy. With how many stickers there are in the game, I think they'd want people to use them more. I mean, no one is using this sticker if they only get one. The fact that we don't get a single Super Circuit track in this game is kind of absurd. It's not like a Mario Kart 8 track where they'd be hard to implement. They're probably only a little bit more difficult than Super Mario Kart tracks. There's no reason SNES should have got 2 and one could have been replaced by a Super Circuit track instead. Finally, for this rapid fire round, I don't like the boomerang change in this game. In Mario Kart 8, whenever you threw it, it would leave your item slot. That let you get new items even if you still had some boomerang throws left. In World though, you have to exhaust all of the throws before you can get a new item, which I just find to be a bit annoying. But for my final nitpick before we move to the comments, the price. Yeah, okay, this is the one everyone on the planet has been complaining about. So the question is the game worth $80? No, but I paid $50, so I don't care that much. I'm obviously not a fan of games rising in prices because I don't think World does anything to justify being so much higher than every other game I've ever bought. Before this, Tears of the Kingdom was the only $70 game I've bought, and while yeah, I don't love the price, at least it is a massive game, so I thought it was fair enough. I don't even think Mario Kart World is close to Tears of the Kingdom in terms of content, let alone being $10 more. I mean, I hesitate to even call it that much bigger than 8 Deluxe, so I genuinely don't think there is any justification for the $80 price unless they add a whole second island in a free update. At the very least, this does have a $50 option though, and since that's what I did, I'm not too upset. I'm just not looking forward to seeing what other games go down this route in the future. And now it's time we finally get to the insane individuals in the community tab. I didn't choose too many nitpicks this time around since I covered a lot of the big ones for myself, but we do still have a decent enough list. Starting off, we got James from RP server 4569 who says, the fact that there's 200 plus songs in the game and no radio or anything to listen to them while driving in free roam is just straight up criminal. There's some absolute bangers in the soundtrack, and with this amount of songs, you'd expect there to be something to help you listen to them. Maybe next time, Nintendo. Maybe next time. I didn't even think about this while working on my nitpicks, but I 100% agree. One of my favorite aspects about Mario Kart World is just how many songs got remixed here from previous Mario games. It's almost like getting a bunch of remixes for a new Smash title, but instead of being games I've never heard of before, it's Super Mario. For that reason, the fact that there's not at least a menu to listen to these remixes like there is in Smash is absolutely tragic. A radio system where you could make a playlist to listen to in the open world would also just fit perfectly with the road trip vibe this game is going for. I really hope this gets added in a future update, even if I may be done exploring the open world by then. Sticking with update stuff, Aman Malik X90 says, my nitpick is that they remove custom items from versus mode. I miss out running 15 blue shells. This is one I was surprised wasn't here. Mario Kart 8 Deluxe didn't have custom items at launch, but it was added in an update, and I just figured that would be a staple feature from now on. I can't imagine it would cause too many issues, so I really think they should add it back. Maybe they didn't want people cheating the character unlock system by going Kamek only or something. Stupid item anyway. Sticking with characters a bit more, Zavi Corticast 9174 says, my biggest nitpick is how they remove color options from Shy Guy, Birdo, and Yoshi. I thought with there being costumes now, Nintendo would go further with extra colors, not backwards. It makes it feel like these characters are losing out on more options than they're gaining. I mean, Yoshi does still get colors based on his costume, but there's no way to play as a default black Yoshi, for example. In fact, there's no black Yoshi in this game, period. Nintendo, I swear to. Shy Guy and Birdo just lose their colors completely though, which is sad to see. Not to mention that characters like Toad and Koopa really should have colors as well. Maybe next time, Green Toad fans. Rich Dude 2985 says, the fact that King Boo doesn't have his Luigi's Mansion design as a costume. Yeah, this one is absolutely a problem to me. King Boo's Luigi's Mansion design is easily his best look, and the fact that they keep going with this is genuinely upsetting. Worse still is that King Boo had this costume in Tour, so why not just put it in the new game too? It's the most obvious costume ever, and they just refuse to use it. There are a few other characters that have obvious costumes that we don't get to see, but this is the most appalling. Our next nitpick comes from Hamsterland, who says, Nintendo included characters like Goomba and Snowman, so they have no excuse to not let Marty the Thwomp finally be playable. Nintendo, please, free my boy. EJ Slays says, they still have smart steering automatically turned on for local multiplayer. I think this is just about everyone's main annoyance in Mario Kart 8, as I'm sure everyone has to tell their friends and family to make sure and turn off smart steering every time they play. I really had hoped they would fix this for Mario Kart World, but even now, it's always on by default. I would absolutely love for this to be updated. Tobi Amadara says, the free roam is extremely lackluster. I'm not expecting it to be GTA or anything, but there isn't really much outside of P-Switch missions. I saw this take a lot on Twitter, and while I can kinda understand where people are coming from, I don't fully agree. Yeah, the world is a lot less dense in content when compared to a game like Mario Odyssey, but I haven't had much of a problem with it so far. It always feels like I stumble upon something to do pretty quick, and I enjoy all of the P-Switch missions. Maybe it's just my Mario Odyssey brain liking quick-paced fun, but I like the content in the open world. That there have definitely been spots where I feel like there should be stuff, and there just isn't, so I understand this perspective. Hi Noob 945 says, the item balancing in this game is nuts. A golden mushroom can bring you from mid-pack to first on any intermission track. Not to mention the amount of red and blue shells you deal with from first feels turned up. Yeah, I haven't played a ton of online just yet, but I definitely agree with this that it gets a bit crazy. Honestly, it's to the point where the new parkour mechanics almost don't feel like they matter. Sure, in time trials they're great for saving time, but in online races, just getting a few mushrooms on the final turn is enough to pass anyone that's going super tryhard, especially if they keep getting blue. It feels near impossible to maintain a lead in this game, and maybe that'll change as time goes on, but second place almost feels like a better position to be in than first. But for our final nitpick, Giant Firing Cole says, the level of disrespect to add Swooper and not Batman should be studied. I know we are all passionate about our Dark Knight, but at least Swooper is a step in the right direction. He is a sign of hope that one day we will be free. But anyways, that's it for this video. Do you hate sidesteppers and hate me for not mentioning them? Let me know in the comments. This was a lot quicker of a video for Mario Kart World, but hopefully you all still enjoyed it. If you haven't seen my cup ranking, I would highly recommend it because that was a long video and I thought it turned out pretty good. I am going to be taking a small Mario Kart break soon, by the way, because I have to cover the new Minecraft update, but the Mario Kart videos will return soon enough. Before I go though, I've got to thank my members being Levi Strux, Alki42, Maidzio2, Nuclear, Cassie Channel, Fredbear's Diner, Nathaniel B, Set the Sun Villano, Luma, Blessed Tiger, Yanni the Duck, Wyatt Derpy, Trader Mo, Mevins 2001, Kid Trunks 15, Caddy Shroom, Enchanted Skull, SMA, B Major 2003, Arson the Raboot, Sir Musty, Belandor, Puggles Are Fun, Diluted Colors, Cinder CC, Jade Avery, Pronto Clone, Thicky Reiki, Ungenio TM, CW McCain, Tibby, JubeTube Tesseract, Mr. McMahon 5702, Hippopotamus, Jameson Pageson, Wilbur, Golden Sand 15, Zfrost, Stuffy Ant, Justex, Concanut to Keep, and Christian Flattery Sequel Edition. But anyways, dry bones for Smash, and I'll see you guys next time.